Good afternoon, students. Uh, Today we are going to learn about the basics of the anatomy. And before we go ahead, let us see this beautiful thought that the road to success is always under construction. So, the more you will work hard, the more easily you will get success. Okay, so this is Neha Sharma once again. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to learn about the very basics in the anatomy, that is the cell and the bones. Today we will see the cell only. Okay, so cell is the fundamental, structural, functional and the biological unit of all organisms. Okay, so as we all know that all the living organisms having the cell. So cell is a basic structure, that's why it is known as a fundamental. Okay, and the main source of functioning of our body is the cell itself. Okay, so that's why it is one of the fundamental structure functional biological unit of the life. Now it comes from a Latin word which is known as cella. So cella means a small room, as we have already know that the cell comes in a very small size to the large size. So that's why it's known as a cell. So it comes from the cella. Now whenever we study about the cell structure and its function, it is known as the cytology. The cell is first discovered by the Robert Hooke in 1665. As you can see here, this is the picture of the Robert Hooke who has discovered the cell. Now, the average human body contains approximately 37.2 trillion cells. So, you can imagine that how many cells are there in our body. Now, whatever the organs which are present inside the cell is known as the organelles. Okay, so as you can see in our human body, every organ has its own cell. You can see here, this is the egg, okay, female ovum. Then you can say the pancreas have cell, the muscle having cell, the heart is having cell, the blood is having cell, brain, lungs, body. So every organ has cells. So that's why it is a very important thing you must remember about the cell. Now the cell size, as you can see, sorry, so as you can see the cell size as starts from the 10 micrometer to 100 micrometer. So that is the range of the cell size. Now the smallest cell in the human body is sperm cell, which is present in the male, and the largest cell in the human body is the egg cell, which is also known as the ovum. As you can see in this picture, this is a nerve cell, also known as the neuron. So this is the longest cell in the human body, so you can remember it very easily, and it is very commonly asked in the competitive exams also. So you can remember with the mnemonic sun. So smallest sperm, largest ovum, and the longest is the nerve. So you can see sperm, over, and the nerve. Now this is the level of the organization. So every organism is made up of basic unit cell. Now when the cell combines, they will make the tissue. When the tissue will join together, they will make the organs. The organ will collectively make the organ system, and then it will make an organism. So that is how it's all working. Okay, so that is it, how the level of organization is present in the humans. The basic structure is the cell. So as you can see, this is the cell picture. So different organs are there. These all are known as the organelles because these organs are present in the cell. So we will see one by one. So first you can see the cell wall. As you can see, this is a wall which is protecting the cell. So that's why it is known as a cell wall. It is the outer protective membrane, and its main function is to provide structure, support and protection for the cell. Always remember, plant is having the cell wall, but animal don't have a cell wall. That is a very important thing you have to remember. Now this you can see, this is the cell membrane, also known as the plasma membrane. And the most important thing here, you can see that some particles are going outside, that is green color, and some particles are going outside the cell, that is of red color. So it is also known as a selectively permeable membrane. It selects which things must be permitted under the cell and which must not. Now this is the nucleus, and we all know that nucleus contains the genetic material DNA, and DNA is very important for controlling and directing all the activities of the cell, also known as the genetic information bearer of the cell. Okay, and you can see with the great power comes the great responsibility. So nucleus is having a lot of responsibilities. Now this is the mitochondria. So we all know that mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. That is a very important question also, that which is the powerhouse of the cell. So that is mitochondria, and it produces the energy currency, and energy currency is known as the ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Now this is the cytoplasm. As you can say, this is jelly like substance. So it is thick jelly like substance of the cell, and it provides the structural support for the cell. Moreover, it also helps for the energy production, storage, and the manufacturing of the different cellular components. Now here you can say this is the endoplasmic reticulum, and you can see here in this blue there is a ribosomes are present here. Okay, and this you can see amino acids are producing. Okay, so this is a rough endoplasmic reticulum, because you can see the surface is the rough because of the presence of the ribosome. Okay, so its main function is the production and the storage of the protein. Now this is the Golgi apparatus, and it is also known as the post office of the cell, because its main function is the packaging. Okay, so here you can see the protein is coming and it is packed from the Golgi apparatus. So its main function is the modify, short, and package proteins to be secreted. Now this you can say these are the ribosomes. So the main function of the ribosome is the manufacture protein. Okay, so this is known as the protein synthesizers of the cell. Then here you can say this comes the lysosome, and it removing the waste. Okay, so basically the enzyme break vacuum balls of the cell. Okay, so its main function is the breakdown of the lipids, carbohydrates, protein into the small molecules, and removal of all the waste. So lysosome is one of the very important for removal of the waste. Now this you can say this is the vacuole. So this is also known as the storage container. As you can say, this is the blue type of box that is opening. Okay, so it providing the structural support, and moreover it function as a storage, waste disposal, protection, and the growth. Now this is the chloroplast, and we all know what is the function of the chloroplast. So this is conduct the photosynthesis. As you can see, the glucose is present, and with the presence of the sunlight it is producing the glucose. So the glucose synthesizer of the cell. So, in a nutshell, we can understand that the nucleus is known as the brain of the cell, because its main function is controlling and directing. Then the mitochondria is known as the powerhouse of the cell, because it produces the ATP. Golgi apparatus is known as the mail room to the endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum is known as the highway of the cell, because as you have seen how ribosomes are uh, functioning there. Then the vacuole, as it is a its main function is storage, so that's why it is known as storehouse of the cell. Cell membrane is known as the gatekeeper of the cell. Ribosome main function is to produce the protein, and lysosomes as the main function is cleanup, so that's why it is known as the cleanup room. So that you have to remember in all of the cell organs. Okay, now the another important thing which you must remember, that prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic, there are two types of the cell. So single cell organisms is known as the prokaryotic, and the multicellular is known as the eukaryotics. Okay, so that is a basic difference which you must remember, that no membrane bound organelles are present in the prokaryotic, and bacteria is the example, and we all humans, plants, animals contains the eukaryotic cells. So most of the organelles consist of the membrane bound organelles. Okay, then usually these prokaryotic cells is contained in the unicellular organisms, but the cyanobacteria is one of the exception, which is can be multicellular, and most of the eukaryotic means is all are multicellular. Okay, then prokaryotic cells are present in bacteria and archaea. Archaea is also a bacteria. And in the eukaryotic, it is present in the plants and organisms. Now, these all are the organelles which are whether present or not that we can see. So, lysosome, peroxisomes, endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, Golgi apparatus. These all are not present in the prokaryotic cells. Okay, because this all contains the membrane bound. Okay, and thus all these are present in the eukaryotic cells. Moreover, the ribosomes are smaller in the prokaryotic cells and the larger in the eukaryotic cells. So these are the basic difference between the prokaryotic cells and the eukaryotic cells. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you very much.